everybody, what's up? The energy that I was getting in the pre-shuffle, it was about either needing to see something or needing to make a decision. I was seeing the Two of Swords, so that can be sometimes when things are not like totally clear, and it can be because we're like still processing something or still working something out. We are starting off with the Ten of Swords, but then we also have Ace of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck. So this looks like some cycle is over now, a new one is beginning, but you can also still be processing whatever this was that just happened. You may not be taking this lightly, whatever it was, so maybe you just need some time, which is perfectly fine. While that old cycle was remaining, it may have been putting off you needing to venture forward, but now that you are going to be venturing forward, I feel like it's kind of opening up a bit of a mysterious path for you to be walking down. And this can be like maybe your mind is opening up in a way that it hadn't been before. Maybe your heart is opening up in a way that it hadn't been before. Maybe you're also going to be exploring, I don't know, like an area of life or like a trajectory that wasn't expected to be being explored. This can feel uncomfortable because of that. I'm getting this notion again of, as that last cycle was continuing, it could have been saving you from having to move forward and go explore something new, but now that this is closing out, it feels like it's pushing you into an unfamiliar space. So it can be like, okay, well, I can't go back into that, but then also to moving forward, I feel like that's a big question mark as well. So you can be in that in between where it's like, going back isn't comfortable. I don't even think it's possible. Moving forward doesn't really feel too comfortable either, because there's stuff that's going to have to be uncovered as well to go in that direction. So overall, maybe you feel a little bit on edge too with this. Just get like uncomfortable, especially. You may have to have a conversation with a part of you that may not really want to be doing this. Like, I don't know if you have to set some ground rules. It can be with another person, but this is also going to be having to do with your relationship with yourself too, where I feel like you're just having some sort of looking at yourself in the mirror, having a conversation about something. But yeah, this can be somebody around you where you're like, I have to set boundaries with them. Interesting. Two of Swords, Seven of Swords. This is the Two of Swords I was seeing in the pre-shuffle, accompanied by a Seven of Swords. Is this just like really putting something off that needs to be addressed? Is it deeper than that? It's kind of like, I can avoid this while not making a decision. I can avoid this while I am not making a decision. Once I make a decision, I can't avoid this anymore. So may kind of be like playing off of that a little bit. This may be another person's energy if this is not yours. But you have to look into this and see if that could be you. But yeah, for some of you, if you're the one that's the Queen of Swords here, you can have somebody that you're dealing with that they're not making a decision, and they may be like, I don't know what to do here, but they're just doing it because it's like putting off them having to deal with something. It's like when you ask somebody, do you want this or do you want that? And they're like, I'm undecided. This person is not undecided, but I think that they don't want to own the consequences of making that choice. So yeah, you can be dealing with somebody that's what they're doing. For some of you, you could be the one that's doing this. So this isn't like I actually legitimately don't know. This is I do know, but I'm pretending that I don't know. And like if this is you, this can be a personal matter that you actually know what you want to do about this, but you're putting off dealing with it because you don't. It's like things are going to get really real once you do this, and you can be putting off making the choice because then you're going to have to actually deal with what's going to unfold because of that. I don't think that this is really a good tactic. It's not really being suggested to do that if that's what you're doing, but it's also understandable. Because there will be a part of you that this would be appealing to, or if it's the other person, you know, they are like getting an advantage from doing this, or so they think anyway. It feels a little bit like a roadblock that's being removed here. Like I see you in some like really advanced level of the game that you've been playing. And some important stuff has to be decided now. There are a lot of court cards that are coming out, and when this happens, there's potential for there to be a multitude of people involved in this situation. Okay, this is actually a really big deal. Like a bigger deal than I thought because, okay, so it's like this. Let's attribute the person that has to make the choice. Let's attribute that to the energy of the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles has a really big choice that they need to make, but they have not been making the choice, not because they don't already know the answer. They do know the answer, but they have not given their answer because they're going to close out something really big, but they've been avoiding having to do that. And if this is you, this means there's something going on within your personal life that has to be closed out. You already know this. It's not that you don't. And I think the question has already been posed, but you can be like, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, when it's like, clearly you're going to do this. There's no other thing to be doing here, but you can just be like hiding that as if like you don't know. When I'm seeing it like already, the answer is there. One's mind is made up. There's no other way to be going with this. I'm seeing Scorpio and I'm seeing Pisces here. Why the Queen of Pentacles can be putting off doing this is because they know that once they do this, it's going to seal their fate. And that can be something that right now they want to pretend like they don't know. I don't know if they're like lining certain things up so they feel like they have a better cushion or something like that. But I get like this sort of energy here where this is very strategic why the person is doing this. It may not be very honest, but it is very strategic how this is being done. And I think also too, there can be a like, oh, well, I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for this. But the thing is that there's deception that's involved in this. So just fair warning, depending on sort of like who you are within this scenario, you may be getting feelings about things. You can also have this person maybe taking advantage of your kindness a little bit here, because I am seeing, so we have Queen of Swords, but I'm seeing their energy be connected with a Queen of Cups. So Queen of Swords is somebody that can like try to be no nonsense and like be, I think handling things in a straightforward communication matters. I'm just trying to get the information to find out what's going on, but having that also be connected with the Queen of Cups, this is somebody that they really try to be understanding. They are very understanding, but can sometimes maybe have some like boundary issues, or may not like always call everybody out on things that need to be called out. They can have a very big heart, but they can also be, it looks like a situation where if you're the one that's the Queen of Swords, this person may be taking advantage of you a little bit here because they they feel like you maybe lack boundaries or like don't really like hold them to some type of standard because you're like, I understand, but then they can be doing something where like they know it's kind of wrong, but they also feel like maybe you don't call them out for this. I feel like you don't, if you're the one that's the Queen of Swords here, you may not hold this person accountable so they can kind of do this. Like they can keep playing this game because you're just like, it reminds me of like a mom with a child, or like a parent with a child, and the child is like really, really misbehaving, but they're not being corrected because the mom is like, oh, it's my child, you know, just like let them do whatever. They're like going up to strangers, like pulling their hair, and the mom is like, sorry, like whatever, you know, making up excuses. I kind of get that little bit of dynamic that you have with this person, where it's like they know that they're not supposed to be pulling people's hair, but they're doing it because they know that you're not going to discipline them. And even though this feels like I feel like supposed to be kind of equals with this person, I'm not seeing like a child-parent relationship. Not that it can't be, but I think for most of you, that's not really the dynamic that you have with somebody. It looks like equals more so between the two of you. Not that a child and a parent isn't an equal, but you know what I'm saying? Like there can be a bit of a hierarchy when the child is younger, like an actual child, and then there's a parent, the whole like authority dynamic, all of this. What this looks like to me is more of like a peer relationship that you have with this person. I feel like the person that's on this side is the one that's like not being very honest about the stuff that's going on, only because that's going to seal their fate once they do that. And this is a strategic move that they're making. And I also see them, if you're the one that's the Queen of Swords, this person has been studying your behavior. I'm looking at a Page of Swords that's connected with them, looking at you as the Queen of Cups over here, so they can be knowing just like how far they can push you and kind of testing the waters here to see how much they can sort of get away with. Now, this doesn't have to be anything like super, super harmful or anything like that. It can just be more so like there's not transparency here between you and this person when it's expected, but they know that you're not going to put your foot down, and so they keep doing it because they have observed that they can do that with you. And right now they're in an energy where they will take advantage of that. Not everybody's going to act like that. This person happens to be making choices from that space right now. They know what they're doing. They know where they want to go with things. They just haven't said it out loud. It feels like common courtesy that this would be something that's communicated, but I'm seeing them not do it because it's in some way putting them it's giving them some sort of advantage they perceive. So that's why that's happening in the way that it is right now. I feel like you're going to have to set boundaries with this person. Like you're going to have to do something. Because I'm wondering if you're picking up on this at this point where you're like, you're just stalling. You know, it's like you ask them a direct question and then they answered back by asking you some questions here. And you're like, I asked you a direct question. It's like a yes or a no, but they're like spinning the words around a little bit. So this feels like you need to look at that and not forget yourself here within the energy, because you know there's a difference between being able to give somebody some leeway and they're going to handle that respectfully and appropriately versus somebody that doesn't really deserve that. So maybe you're going to look at this and feel like that you need to put your foot down a little bit with this person because they're taking advantage of you. Keep in mind too, like this can be a company or something. It doesn't have to be another person, you know, like maybe your company is keeping you in the dark with something and you're like, I feel like they have answers, but they're not saying it because then they know people are going to react to things. Because like we have the King of Pentacles here, there definitely can be a work situation, and we have a whole lot of people here in the energy. So there can be a lot of stuff where people are making moves. They're being very strategic. We don't know if things are going to close out or not. It kind of feels like stuff is up in the air. Things aren't being said, but there are motivations that have not been being discussed. And then people are getting an advantage because of that, and then other people are put at a disadvantage because of this. So there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on overall. If you're the one that's on this side of the energy where you're just in some sort of situation and you're trying to deal with it, but you're doing everything in like an upright manner, I feel like you're having a hard time in this situation because not everything has been being put out on the table. It's kind of like the other person knows all of the pieces that are involved and has all of the information, but is only giving you half of the information. And so you can't really do too much with that. So you may need to push a little bit harder with this. Like maybe you need to be more demanding within the energy where you're like, I need answers like yes or no right now. I need you to tell me. Yeah, this energy is coming through again where like the person that's on this side, I see them watching you. I see them studying you in some way. And I feel like by them putting this off, they're doing something. It's like when somebody's like holding you on the line. It's reminding me of like in the movies when they're like trying to catch somebody and they're like trying to keep them on the phone so they can find out the location of where the person is. They're like, you just need to keep them on the phone for 15 more seconds and then we'll be able to get their location. And so they're like trying to keep the person talking, but there's like an alternate agenda that's happening. It's kind of like that with this. So I wonder if somebody's like keeping you in some space and kind of like misleading or misdirecting you a bit because they're like setting something else up, but they're not communicating that with you. So yeah, if you feel like something suspicious is going on here, it feels like it's important that you do something about it, but you have to be firm about this is what it seems like. Some of you, you're in a relationship with this person. And yeah, I'm seeing that they're going to end it, but they're not telling you that because they're setting stuff up so it puts them at an advantage. And for some of you, this is a financial thing too that's partly involved in this. So yeah, I'm going to let that be the cue and we're going to leave the reading here. I want to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I'm seeing Pisces and Scorpio. I am sending everybody love and I will catch you guys next time.